BSSEI. Now I would like to start, on a different note, because you can easily understand that uh, to complete or to give you a comprehensive idea about a romantic age within 1 hour class is a kind of gargantuan task. So we cannot complete the task within 1 hour. It is not possible, frankly speaking. But still, our topic rather today, how to discuss, how to read. Actually, this is a vast age, and romantic, Victorian, modern, and postmodern. You know very well. As you are preparing for NET exam, you know very well how important all these ages are for you people. Those who are aspiring for this particular NET exam. Just let me share my screen. Just 1 minute. Let me share my screen. Okay. So therefore, I would like to give you a comprehensive idea about the whole age, and also I'll talk about, how to read. What will be the topics which you need to read on your own so that you can crack the exams, or so that you can answer each and every questions at least from this particular age. Actually, we cannot guarantee that you will be able to answer all the questions, or whatever you will be reading, the questions will be coming from there only. But we can give you, or we can show you the right path. If you follow that particular path, I think you will not be in a problem. So anyway, apart from all these things, I would like to start the age today, that is romantic age. And first of all, obviously, these things whichever I'm going to discuss, the introductory portion may not be that much necessary from the point of view of NET, but it will give you a comprehensive idea about the age. And sometimes it happens like that you will have to apply your logical power in order to answer questions, because you do not expect. Actually, nowadays the trend has changed a lot because of the change in the canon meaning, which will be included in the syllabus and which will not be included in the syllabus, from where the questions will come. This particular idea has changed because of the different types of worldview, postmodernist worldview, and other points of views. The things have got a sea change. Things have gone a sea change, and that's why we cannot predict how the questions will come. And that's why you need to, all the more you need to have a comprehensive idea about the age. And whenever you are all matured enough, I believe, and you have some primary reading over this age. Therefore, my duty is to make you aware about the some of the intricate portions of this particular age. And obviously, I'll be trying my best in this 1 hour to give you a comprehensive idea, so that you can get at least an idea how to read this particular age. First of all, it's very important to know the context, because you can easily understand that right now in which condition we are. If you just gather information, whenever you will gather information, your mind will not be, will not accept it quite easily. Your mind will never accept all these things quite easily. If you just gather information, you need to have a logical base, so that your mind can, whenever the options will come in the exam, at least four options will be coming, you all know that. And there is no negative marking, thank god. And therefore, by logical reasoning, you can answer the questions. And that's why you need to know the context in which it was, this particular age, or any particular age, or any particular literary text, any particular literary theory is formed. So this you need to understand. And that's why at first I would like to start with this context in which this particular age was, in a way, I'll not say formed, but I'll say just in a way this romantic trend came into the literature. And before that, you all know that officially, with the publication of the lyrical ballads in the year 1798, this particular age started. 1798 lyrical ballads, and there are different editions of lyrical ballads. At first, there, I mean, preface to the lyrical ballads, second edition of the lyrical ballad, and the third edition. You all know about all these things, but first of all, you need to understand also the French Revolution. This portion, which which upheld the theory of liberty, equality, and fraternity. And for the first time, you know about the transitional period. If you look into the transitional period, you will find out gradually, the trend was getting changed. You just think about Pope's The Rape of the Lock, one kind of drawing room poetry, we may say. Pope's The Rape of the Lock, we can call it a kind of drawing room poetry. You all know about Belinda, and you know that the whole poem was concerned about the Belinda. I mean, it was set. The setting was Belinda's toilet, Belinda's dressing places. So you know, and also a fashionable lord ladies drawing room, and you know, toilets. We may say toilet meaning, obviously, you know, I believe this toilet doesn't mean lavatory or something like that. This toilet means, I mean, the place where one particular woman decorates herself. This is the toilet. You know the concept. I'm sure about it. But the thing is that whenever you just read this drawing room poetry, you will not find out the common people there. So there the problem arose, and that's why, you know, all know about Thomas Gray. Thomas Gray's famous elegy written in a country churchyard. Whenever you read the particular poem, you will find out elegy written in a country churchyard, an ode to Eton College. All these famous poems, very famous. These are, I mean, these poems have a place, like the romantic. I mean, like the romantic writings, or like the writings of the romantic poets. You know, these elegy written in a country churchyard, or ode on the distant prospect of Eton College, etc., etc. These are very famous poems in the history of English literature, and all these poems you need to read line by line. It is not like that you will just, I mean, come to know about that elegy written in a country churchyard was written by our Thomas Gray. This much information will not be beneficial in today's context. You need to have a comprehensive idea, and that's why you can easily understand. I'm not going into the transitional period, but without discussing something about the transitional period, I cannot move forward. Without discussing about something about the transitional period, I cannot move forward in this particular way. So you know, whenever you will be discussing, or whenever you will be reading this Thomas Gray, you will find out how the romantic trends are coming. In this regard, I mean, just few minutes ago, I mean, when I was preparing, I mean, myself for this webinar, or so to say, I was listening to one of the songs by Rabindranath Tagore, you know, Purano Sei Diner Kotha. And I mean, now I found, I mean, this song was one of my favorites. And of course, you have listened to the song, and but the most important point regarding the song is that, you know, this particular song was, the tune of that particular song, and sometimes the language also, was taken from a Scottish poet named Robert Burns. You all know that Robert Burns was also a transitional poet, and who was a kind of, what to say, I mean, a kind of farmer. I mean, village farmer and country farmer, and he had written some of the, I mean, beautiful lyrics in English literature. I mean, I just want to give you a taste of that, so that I think you will not feel bored at all, and you will have these ideas. I mean, you will have a comprehensive idea about this age through this song. Just listen to this song. I mean, it will take only 2-3 minutes, but I think that will be better for you. Just, I'm ready with the song. Just listen to it. Just 1 minute. Okay, just 1 minute.
স্কটিশ কবি ও লোকসঙ্গীত সংগ্রাহক রবার্ট বার্নস এই গানটি 1788 সালে একটি বৃদ্ধ মেষপালকের মুখে শোনেন এবং
So, is it properly audible? I mean, the song is properly audible, right?
Yes, sir, audible.
Yes,
Okay,
sir, audible.
okay. Just have I mean, listen to it.
সংগ্রহ করেন। পরে তিনি নিজস্ব দুটি স্তবক মূল গানের সঙ্গে সংযোজিত করেন। ও 1799 সালে এই গানটি তার রচনা হিসেবে প্রকাশিত হয়। এই বহু প্রচলিত স্কটিশ লোকগীতি পরে সারা পৃথিবীতে ছড়িয়ে পড়ে এবং অত্যন্ত জনপ্রিয় হয়ে ওঠে। গানটির সুর নানান পরিবর্তনের মধ্যে দিয়ে বর্তমান রূপে এসে সেই দিনের কথা ভুলে ফিরে সেই চোখের দেখা প্রাণীর কথা সেই কে বলা যায়।
So I'll not waste more time in making you listen to this particular song because this is a very famous song and you may listen to it. It is available in the YouTube. And my point, I mean, I think you have got my point. What I wanted to say, that the rustic life, the simple life, came into literature through this particular age. And I mean, coming to this age or before discussing the main features of this particular age, I would like to say to you another thing that what is the definition of this romanticism. Sometimes it is also a very difficult question. What is the definition of this romanticism? If you just go through the definition, you will find out there is a writer. There are so many definitions, so many persons have defined romanticism in many ways, but there is a person named Walter Pater. You all know about Walter Pater, and Walter Pater had given the definition, and that is most accepted, I believe, definition of romanticism, that it is the addition of strangeness to beauty which constitutes a romantic character. I'm just repeating the line. It is the addition of strangeness to beauty that constitutes a romantic character. So my point here, once again, I would like to say to you, is that addition of strangeness. Suppose you just look into a simple object, and whenever you just look into a simple object, then you will find out, I mean, there's nothing like that. But whenever the strangeness will be added by a poet, there's a famous writer, you most probably know the name of the writer, Omar Khayyam. Omar Khayyam had written, I mean, one particular poem. Actually, I do not remember at this moment the name of the poem, but one of the line goes like that, you know, হাজারো সাল মে নার্গিস, হাজারো সাল মে নার্গিস বেনুরি pe rote hai. That means, for 1,000 years, Nargis is a beautiful flower and also very rare. It is crying over the stones, falling over the stones. Why it is crying over the stones? Because there is nobody who can appreciate her beauty truly. So that's why it is crying. So the thing is that, our eyes, whenever we become commercialized, or our eyes become commercial, then we do not find out the strangeness in the beauty. And the romantic writers, they find out that particular thing. So it is the addition of strangeness to beauty that constitutes a romantic character. And apart from that, I would like to tell you some of the important features which you all know, but as a part of my duty, I mean, already you just think about it. Escapism. You just think about, I mean, one particular poem in this regard. I would like to name. I'm talking about William Butler Yeats, W.B. Yeats. Some of you might have read the poem "The Lake I Love in Free," where the poet is saying, I mean, uh, the just 1 minute, where the poet is saying, uh, mm, uh, mm, I will arise and go now, go to Innisfree. So where Innisfree is a place in Ireland, and Innisfree is a particular place in Ireland, and he wants to go into that particular place so that he can find out some peace of mind, calm of mind. So escapism is one of the main features. You already know these things. I'm not going into detail of this particular escapism. And then the second one is return to nature. You already have heard the song, I mean, listened to the song few minutes ago. And return to the nature is there. Obviously, return to the nature is there. And another thing, of course, this particular nostalgia, পুরানো সেই দিনের কথা, that this particular nostalgia will also make you make you romantic. So nostalgia is also a kind of romantic characters, and longing for the unattainable, as written in this particular ppt. You can see it properly. Longing for the unattainable, ever elusive, যে ব্যাপারটা সব সময় পালিয়ে বেড়ায়, অনেকটা কাইন্ড অফ সোনার হরিণ. We all know about the golden, I mean, deer. I mean, golden dear meanings which you can imagine but you cannot have in your life. And then there is sympathy for the rustic people. Rustic people already, I mean, you just if you I mean find out any one of the uh, romantic writers, you will find out that there is sympathy for the rural people, rural rustic people. Simplicity is celebrated in this type of poetry. And of course the spirit of revolution. So many features. Spirit of revolution, whenever you will read Shelley's poems you will find out this. Byron's poem even, you will find out the spirit of revolution. So spirit of revolution, this is one of the another very important feature of this I mean romanticism. And in this regard I would like to say to you that when I was master students, you know I sat for the exam, entrance exam of JNU, and there I found out one question which is very interesting. The question goes like that: what do you think? I mean, it is what is the correct term? It will be the, I mean, romanticism is the correct term, or the term romanticisms, I mean plural, it will be the correct term. Which one is the correct form, and what is your opinion? And then, at that time I had some problem in understanding this particular question, but later when I had come back from the exam I found out, we cannot call it romanticisms, because so many isms, ISIMS, so many isms or মতবাদ, যেটাকে আমরা বাংলায় বলি, সেই সমস্ত মতবাদ we can find out in this particular romanticism. And if you just read about Nietzsche, I mean Wordsworth, you just think about Wordsworth. Whenever you will be thinking about Wordsworth, you will be finding out I mean, he is a kind of worshipper of nature. You all know the famous poems Tinton Abbey, or other famous poems, where you will find out that he is a kind of worshipper of nature. Even the daffodils, the solitary reapers, at least these poems you have read. And these poems, whenever you will just read these poems, you will find out how he worships the nature, how he, I mean, elevates the rustic beauty, rural beauty. In this sense, this is a kind of uh, he is romantic in this particular sense. Then if you just go into Coleridge, then he is super, it is told about Coleridge's poems that he supernaturalizes the natural and naturalizes the supernatural. Supernatural জিনিসটাকে ন্যাচারাল ভাবে তুলে ধরে. You just think about Kubla Khan, you just think about the rhyme of the ancient mariner, then you will find out the supernatural element. This is also one kind of romanticism you find. And Shelley, Coleridge, then Keats. Keats is one of the, I mean, I mean, one of the greatest of the romantic poets. You all know that. And in which sense Keats was a romantic? If you just think, I'm just going to give you one particular example. You know that the example is Ode on a Grecian Urn. So whenever you will be reading this Ode on a Grecian Urn, there you will find out the beautiful line, beauty is truth, truth beauty. So beauty is truth. Why this beauty is truth? If you just analyze this single line, beauty is truth, truth beauty. So what is beauty? Suppose you one kind of, what to say, one kind of in a way, one kind of particular Grecian urn that looks beautiful, and it keeps the ashes of a particular dead body. You know the use of urn, it keeps the ashes of a dead body, I mean after one's death. So whenever the body is cremated, the ashes are kept in this particular container named urn in Greek. So whenever one body dies, that particular beautiful urn will remain there. So, in this sense, beauty will remain. We will all go away. We will all go away, and beauty will remain there. Beauty will stay there. So, in this sense, beauty is truth. বিউটিটাই সত্যি, কারণ আমরা তো কেউ থাকবো না। ট্রুথ ইন দ্য absolute sense, আমরা তো কেউ থাকবো না। But at the same time, so this is completely romantic idea. But at the same time, next he is saying truth beauty. Truth beauty কেন? Truth beauty, because if we do not stay, who will appreciate that beauty? It is like that. I mean, we have stayed in this world, and we have the power to appreciate it. That's why it is truth that we are short lived, but there is beauty in this truth. And that's why, and even Tagore has told in his famous poems, আমারই চেতনার রঙে পান্না হলো সবুজ, চুনি উঠলো রাঙা হয়ে, আমি বললাম গোলাপ সুন্দর, সুন্দর হলো সে। So it is the hue of my consciousness, it is the color of my consciousness which has reddened the ruby. So it is so that particular concept is there, which is very much realistic. That's why kids is sometimes called a realistic romantic, and this duality is always there. You just think about Ode to a Nightingale. All of you, I believe, have read this Ode to a Nightingale. So whenever you will be reading this Ode to a Nightingale, the last line goes like that: do I awake or sleep? That means, is it a vision or a waking dream? This type of lines are there in this particular ode to a Nightingale. So Nightingale song are beautiful, but he will have to stay in this world. This is the truth. We cannot escape the reality, although we want always. So that's why this realistic concept is there. At the same time, romanticism is also there. Escapism is also there. So that's why kids is in one sense a realistic romantic. Kids can be called a realistic romantic. Sally, as I had told you, that he is the epitome of revolution. If you just look into his lives also, he was expelled from Oxford for writing one tract, The Necessity of Atheism. You all know that. আস্তিকতার প্রয়োজনীয়তা. If we just translate it into Bengali, you will find out that the necessity of atheism meaning astikataর প্রয়োজনীয়তা. And actually, you can easily understand at that time church and these institutions are in a way religious institutions are there, because all the educational institutions, they had a kind of religious connection, even Oxford and Cambridge, and that's why you cannot actually pronounce in this particular manner whenever you are in a particular, suppose in a particular religious area or religious places, then you cannot comment in this way. So that's why he was expelled from Oxford. So his life was a kind of revolt in a way, and that is reflected, very much reflected, in some of his famous poem. And at least you have read this particular poem, I believe, Ode to the West Wind. And whenever you will read Ode to the West Wind, you will find out the same spirit, beautiful poem, and same spirit of revolution. So we cannot call it romanticism. Rather, it would be a proper term to call it romanticisms, because so many motobad, so many isms are included in this particular term. So I don't have much scope to give you more. Whenever one particular class, one hour, forget about 1 hour, 1 2 3 hours classes can be taken on this introductory parts. Even there are some other complexities also in whenever suppose Wordsworth is a nature poem and also Shelley is a nature poem, but there are differences, the way they look into the nature. So there are differences. He is a worshipper of nature, and he wants to, capture the revolutionary spirit in nature. So all these things are more complex whenever we just read the poems. And if you read Coleridge, this is even more complex, because it talks about the creative ecstasy. There is a term in English, it is called creative exhilaration. EXHILARITION. এক্সিলারেশন মিনিং আমাদের কোনো কিছু ক্রিয়েট করার সময় যে আনন্দটা হয়, that is called creative acceleration, which cannot be expressed in words, যেটাকে মুখে বোঝানো যায় না. Suppose I have created something new, and that particular joy which comes to us at that particular moment, that is called creative exhilaration, which you find out. And he describes this complex process of creativity, which involves pain and pleasure. Same time, you just think about giving birth to a baby. It involves it is a creation also, but it also involves pain and pleasure. Both the things are intermingled, and in a way, this particular complex nature of creativity is portrayed in some of his beautiful poems, including Kubla Khan. So many people have seen romanticism in a different way. So This is all about the introductory portion of romanticism. Now we'll move on to the famous some of the famous uh, mm, uh, romantic poets. Obviously, I'll try to discuss at least three of the romantic poets: William Wordsworth, Coleridge, and Keats in these classes. And also another thing in this regard, before starting this William Wordsworth, Coleridge, Keats, etc., I would like to say to you, I was talking about the change of canon. So when I was talking about the change of canon, you can easily understand change of canon meaning what will be included in the literature, what will be included in the master syllabus, graduation syllabus. That is, who will decide that, or on which basis that particular thing will be decided. This is a matter of question. So previously, our worldview was different. So that's why, you know, we didn't focus on so many things. I'm just going to give you an example in respect to this particular age. Then you will be understanding in a better way. Suppose there is a writer named Maria Edgeworth. Maria Edgeworth, when I was a student, I didn't know about that particular women writer of romantic period. So why I didn't know about it? Because this was not included in most of the books, and she was not much discussed also. That's why we do not, we did not read about her anything. But later, whenever I was looking into the questions of NET exam, I found out one question on Maria Edgeworth. So what is the reason behind that? First of all, she's a woman writer of the romantic period. You just think about this particular age. This is in a way male dominated. Literary domain was male dominated. That's why, this is beautifully expressed in one of the famous writings of Virginia Woolf, where our writer, Virginia Woolf, has imagined one imaginary sister of William Shakespeare. So, can you tell me the name of that the name of that imaginary woman? Any one of you, can you tell me the name of the imaginary woman who had, who was conceived or who was imagined by our Virginia Woolf in his famous A Room of One's Own? Can anybody tell? In this class, not I would like to, this is a, because it sometimes feels like that I am only talking and there is nobody on the other side. So to make the classes lively, that's why I'm just asking you. No problem if you cannot answer the question also. Okay. So the name of that particular female or Shakespeare's sister is Judith. And Judith was conceived or imagined by our writer. Why she is imagined by our writer? Because of the fact she is imagined by our writer, because to suggest that if Shakespeare's sisters had born during her period, the focus will never be on her. শেক্সপিয়ার এমন ভাবেই ফোকাসটা ছিনিয়ে নিত, যদি সে ভালো লিখতো তাহলেও কেউ পড়তো না। So similar is the case. Now, when I found out a question from Maria Edgeworth, who is a romantic woman writer, then I found out something difficult. I found out that the canon is changed. And that's why, as this is a kind of transitional phase, that's why there will be some questions which will seem like, from where? You will be out of the blue whenever these types of, it will be kind of bold from the blue whenever you will find out this type of questions. It will come because the canon has changed. That's why nowadays we should not only focus on the main writers, we should also focus on the writers. Maria Edgeworth was a woman writer. She's an Anglo-Irish writer. You can easily understand how the marginal lives are taken into consideration nowadays. Dalit writing and other, these are burning topics nowadays. So that's why you need to understand she's an Anglo-Irish writer. And when I remember when I was a college student, some poets from Wales. Wales is a province just beside England. They came to our college and we had a conversation with them. Actually, they came to Kolkata Literary Festival and they came to our college. Then we had a talk with these particular writers. And during that period, they were telling us that how it was difficult for them to, I mean, to forge an identity or to forge a writing of their own, because their writings in a way are suppressed by the London academia, I mean London based academia rather, লন্ডন বেসড একাডেমিয়া কিভাবে তাদেরকে সাপ্রেস করে দিচ্ছে, তার জন্য আর তারা উঠে আসতে পারছে। কিন্তু আজকের যুগে ফোকাসটা তাদেরকেও দেয়া হচ্ছে, এবং দ্যাটস ওয়াই মারিয়া এজওয়ার্থ অ্যান্ড দিস টাইপস অফ রাইটার্স আর কামিং ইনটু দ্য ফোকাস, এন্ড দ্যাটস ওয়াই মাই পয়েন্ট ইজ দ্যাট if you want to crack nets, you have a comprehensive idea, which I am telling you from the very beginning, and you need to be very much logical understanding. You will have to use your intelligence in order to answer questions from this particular edges. So anyway, uh, now William Wordsworth will be talking about this William Wordsworth. First of all, it is not possible for me to tell you, I mean, or to give you a comprehensive idea about William Wordsworth. But one thing I would like to tell you, that this information you need to know, that he was one of the major lake poets. I mean, and lake poets are Robert Shade, Samuel Taylor Coleridge, and William Wordsworth. You all know that, because they are called lake poets because of only the fact that they, I mean, they are associated with the Lake District of England, and that's why they are called Lake poets. Next one, then I mean, some of the first famous poems: An Evening Walk, Descriptive Sketches, and Preface to the Lyrical Ballads, which was published in the year 1800, and you know, some of the important poems on the lyrical ballad. So this is also very important, and these poems which are included here, so you need to read all the poems. Actually, you need to read all the poems in detail. So whatever is written here, you need to, I mean, the Thorn, the Idiot Boy, Simon Lee, Expostulation and Reply, Tintern Abbey. Expostulation and Reply you may still leave, but other poems you need to read surely, otherwise there will be problems, because the questions come from within nowadays. And then immortality, what is there? Ode on the intimations of, it will be intimations of immortality from recollections of early childhood. This particular name is not given in this particular portion, but I believe, you will be, just 1 minute, just 1 minute, just 1 minute, just give me, I'm just wanting 1 minute from you. Yeah. So first of all, I would like to say to you that these poems you need to understand. And another thing, Preface to the Lyrical Ballads is 1800 edition. This is also so much famous that you need to, and this is also included in some of the university syllabuses. And another thing, as this is a kind of seminar, I am not supposed to give you a comprehensive idea about a particular age. It will not be possible. I mean, I am not supposed to give meaning. It will not be possible for me at this particular moment within a very short period of time. But the thing which I want to say to all of you is that, whenever you will be reading these portions, you need to read the texts time and again, otherwise there will be problem. And which text will you read, which text will you not read, the you will just go through some of the, university syllabuses. You will, I mean, university syllabuses meaning you may take Kolkata University, Delhi University, Hyderabad University. At least these three universities you will take into consideration: Kolkata, Delhi and Hyderabad. So whenever you will just go through the syllabus, then you will find out your portion will be short out at first. Suppose you are reading Romantic Age, so you need to sort out which text you need to read. Now you will say, is it possible to read all the text? No, it is not possible to read all the text. That's why your duty is to be, I mean, to make a kind of note from Wikipedia. At least from Wikipedia you need to read in detail, because so that you can identify the characters, so that you can not only identify the characters, you can understand what is the theme, what is the basic theme of this particular writing. So these you need to understand very well, otherwise the problems will arise later. So Preface to the Lyrical Ballads, whenever you will be reading this Preface to the Lyrical Ballads, you will find out that, as I was telling you, he had written humble and rustic life was generally chosen, because in that condition the essential pattern of heart finds a better soil in which they can attain their maturity. So this particular quotation I have just put so that, and sometimes the questions come from these portions from the preface to the lyrical ballads. And among all the things, this preface to the lyrical ballads is very important. Preface to the lyrical ballads is very important, whenever in this regard I would like to talk about the history of this publication of this lyrical ballads. Whenever I am discussing this William Wordsworth, you will remember that one thing, that preface to, at first, lyrical ballads was published with only an advertisement. Why that advertisement was needed? The advertisement was needed because William Wordsworth was going to write something new in a particular new style. He had the intention to make people aware of this new style, which will be better later, and it was proved better later, actually. So that's why it came with an advertisement. But later he tried, he wanted to develop his poetic creed or his poetic theme in a better way in the preface to the lyrical ballads. And that's why in the 1800 preface it was an elaborate description, and in some of the university syllabus, including Kolkata University syllabus, you will find out this preface to the lyrical ballads which is included there. So you need to read that also. And also there is the second edition of preface to the lyrical ballads which was published in 1800. And some of the other informations which I have provided here, you need to learn that also. So Romantic movement has been used to cover such literary phenomena as the study drastic realism. William Wordsworth. What is drastic realism? I had already discussed, and I had just told you bits and scraps. And there is also Tinternave. Tinternave is also called the fine flower of the 18th century meditative poetry, as I had told you before. So, these bits of information you need to understand. And once again, I would like to suggest you to read the whole portion, the whole portion, meaning the whole portion of practice to the lyrical ballads, at least those pages which are included in the syllabus. Now, another information you can easily understand in this particular case: on the death of Robert Southey in 1843, Wordsworth became poet laureate. So Wordsworth became poet laureate, on the death of Robert Southey in 1843. And then there was lyrical ballads, and another important question in this regard I would like to say to you, that how many poems? It was a joint venture. Lyrical ballads, was a joint venture by Coleridge and Shakespeare. So Coleridge and Wordsworth, you all know it. But the question comes in this way, that how many poems of Coleridge were accommodated in that particular volume, and how many poems of Wordsworth were accommodated in that particular volume. So in 1798, the volume appeared in the following year with 4 poems by Coleridge. Here the names are given. You can easily see the names here. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Just 1 minute. The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, the Foster Mother's Tale, the Nightingale, and the Dungeon. So these writings, and among these you need to read the Rime of the Ancient Mariner and the Nightingale. So I'm just suggesting you, at this moment it is not possible for me to make you read the whole thing, but I'm just suggesting you some of the important poems which you may read on your own, so that because the questions come very frequently from this portion. And already I had told you some of the poems included in the lyrical ballads. And then there is the prelude. You all know that it was published in 1850, though it was completed in 1805. It is a record of his development as a poet. It is in 14 books, and the prelude was intended to form a vast philosophical work, The Recluse and the Excursion. Like this type of question, will come. Now, the vein of Wordsworth, vein meaning his style. Style of Wordsworth was called egotistical sublime by Keats, as he himself had to be implicated. Actually, সে যাই লেখে তার মধ্যে সে নিজেকে বেশি করে ঢুকিয়ে ফেলে, তার জন্যই তার লেখাটাকে কিটস বলেছিলেন ইগোটিস্টিক্যাল সাবলাইম। এগুলো রোমান্টিক ক্রিটিসিজমের কথা, বাট জাস্ট আমি একটু জাস্ট মনে করিয়ে দিচ্ছি বা ধরিয়ে দিচ্ছি, অ্যান্ড নাথিং এলস। So the child is the father of man. It is a famous portion from the My Heart Lifts Up. This is also another poem, and there must be something there in the chat box. I'll have a look into this particular chat box. Okay, Orunima. Okay, Orunima is asking here. I mean, detail study কোনগুলো করব? Okay, detail study. I mean, in due course of time আমি তো পুরোটা অনেকটা কভার করতে পারলাম না। আমি যেগুলো কভার করতে পারলাম সেই ডিটেল স্টাডি গুলো যতটুকু কভার করতে পারলাম, প্রেফিস টু দ্য লিরিক্যাল ব্যালান্স আমি আরেকবার রিপিট করছি অ্যাজ ইউ আর সাজেস্টিং মি। সো আমি প্রথমবার যেটা বলার সেটা হলো প্রেফিস টু দ্য লিরিক্যাল ব্যালান্স, whenever you will be reading this preface to the lyrical ballads সেটা পড়তে হবে। এবার প্রেফিস টু দ্য লিরিক্যাল ব্যালান্স এর which portions of preface to the lyrical ballads, just 1 minute, uh, just 1 minute, okay, just 1 minute, yeah, just 1 minute, I mean, yeah. So which portions of preface to the lyrical ballads, preface to the lyrical ballads এর সেই পোর্শন গুলো যেগুলো কলকাতা ইউনিভার্সিটি সিলেবাসটাকে একটু ঘাঁটতে হবে। and if you just I mean look into the syllabus of কলকাতা ইউনিভার্সিটি, সেখানে আমি বলছি preface to the lyrical ballads এর কিছু পোর্শন সেখানে ইনক্লুড করা আছে, and that is the most important portion, এবং সেগুলো থেকে কিন্তু কোয়েশ্চেন আসে। তো আমাকে সেইটুকু ঘেঁটে সেই জায়গাটুকু থেকে আমাকে পড়তে হবে। ইট উইল বি অ্যাভেলেবল in the internet. I believe there will be no problem in understanding these portions. Now preface to the lyrical ballads, apart from preface to the lyrical ballads, তারপর আমি এই কোলরিজের কথাগুলো বললাম। কোলরিজের দুটো পোয়েম যেগুলো লিরিক্যাল ব্যালান্স ইনক্লুডেড, দ্য রাইম অফ দ্য এনসিয়েন্ট, তার মধ্যে দ্য রাইম অফ দ্য এনসিয়েন্ট মেরিনার অ্যান্ড দ্য নাইটিঙ্গেল, এই দুটো পড়তেই হবে। তার সঙ্গে টিনটন অ্যাবে তো মানে সিলেবাসেই থাকে মোস্ট অফ দ্য জায়গায়, মোস্ট অফ দ্য প্লেসেস you will find out this টিনটন অ্যাবে, whether in masters or graduation syllabus এই টিনটন অ্যাবেটা থাকে। দ্য প্রিলিউডটাও কিন্তু সিলেবাসে থাকে, দ্য প্রিলিউড ইউ মে রিড। and apart from that, you know, the questions come from the Lucy poems of Wordsworth, very important, this Lucy poems of Wordsworth, each poem, you know, of this, I mean Lucy series is very important. Now Lucy series, what is this Lucy series of Wordsworth? You know, Lucy was an imaginary girl. It maybe it is sometimes suggested that she is the, I mean, she is the girlfriend, or in a way beloved. Girlfriend, I will not say, but beloved of Wordsworth. So whenever you will be, I mean, beloved of Wordsworth died very early, যে খুব তাড়াতাড়ি মারা গেছিল, এবং তার জন্যই এই লুসি পোয়েমস গুলো লেখা। সো লুসি পোয়েম আর সিরিজ অফ 5 পোয়েমস। এই 5 পোয়েমস এর নাম মনে রাখতে হবে, এবং কোন কোনগুলো ইম্পর্টেন্ট আই এম টেলিং ইউ। Lucy poems are a series of 5 poems composed by Wordsworth between 1798 and 1801. All but one were published during 1800 in the second edition of Lyrical Ballad. So, so you know, in these poems, Wordsworth examines the poet's unrequited love for the idealized character of Lucy, an English girl who has died young. The idea of her death weighs heavily on the poet through the series, imbuing it with a melancholic elegiac tone. So the names of the poems I have given here: Strange Fits of Passion I Have Known, She Dwelt Among the Untrodden Ways, I Travelled Among Unknown, 3 years she grew in sun and shower, and a slumber did my spirit still. So you can easily understand these 5 poems are the, I mean, the titles are actually the first lines of these poems. So 3 years he grew in sun and shower, and a slumber. Last 2 poems you need to read. You need to read, and these are beautiful lyrics in English literature. These are beautiful English. I mean, just try to enjoy, not take the pressure. Do not take the pressure. I know that there are so much pressure on all of you. You know, the situation is not favorable at all. I can understand it very well, and you have much pressure on your shoulder, but still, you know, you just try to enjoy. You just try to enjoy. You forget about your things, because you just forget about everything, and do read, and try to enjoy your reading. You are the student of literature, you are not student of any other subject. So try to enjoy your reading, and whenever you will be starting enjoying your reading, then you will find out that everything is going very smooth, very smoothly. So so the last 2 poems you need to read: 3 years he grew in sun and shower, and a slumber did my spirit still. In my next class, as you were asking, so it may be like that there may be some some, what to say, some particular reading list, I may provide you. I may provide you some other particular reading list which you need to read all these things. So that I'll be providing later. So next one, The Borderers is a blank verse tragedy by Wordsworth. So apart from that, I'm telling you there are so many things which come. I mean, questions from within the text come, and there are so many things there. He has written something on Shakespeare also. He has written something on Milton also. I'm talking about William Wordsworth. So these questions also come very frequently in the exam, which I don't have much scope here in discussing. Only 10 minutes left, and I have not completed one of the writers yet. Other writers I'll have to finish here. I mean, I'll have to give an idea. Now, Coleridge, as I had told you that he uh, he actually in his poetry, the main element is the supernatural element. You know Now, his famous poems, these four poems you need to remember, and then there is Christabel. You need to read in detail this poem, Christabel. In 1797, Coleridge wrote the first part of Christabel, though a second part was added in 1800 and published in 1816. Publications years are also what is Christabel, that is also important. It is given in this particular material, so I think you will have the material and there will be no problem in understanding all these things. Next one, Kubla Khan, it is the poem beginning with a description of the stately pleasure dome built by Zanadu, soon becomes a dreamlike series of dissolving views. Last few days ago I had found a beautiful writing in Anandabazar Potrika on this Kubla Khan, and there the whole history was written, how it was written on a dream, an opium generated dream, মানে আফিম খেয়ে তার নেশা হয়ে যে ঘুমটা হয়েছিল সেই ঘুমের মধ্যে একটা স্বপ্ন আছে, এবং সেই ঘুমের মধ্যে স্বপ্ন স্বপ্ন থেকে ভেঙে যেতেই সে কবিতাটা লিখতে শুরু করে, অ্যান্ড দ্যাট ইজ, এবং সে সেটাকে পাবলিশও করতে চায়নি প্রথমে। হি ডিড নট ওয়ান্ট টু পাবলিশ দিস পোয়েম অনলি বিকজ অফ দ্য ফ্যাক্ট দ্যাট ইট, অ্যাকর্ডিং টু হিম, ইট ওয়াজ নট পোয়েম অ্যাট অল, but his friend Byron actually in a way forced him to publish this particular poem, and which became world famous because it talks about the complex nature of creativity, which I had discussed just at the very beginning of this particular class. এই particular ক্লাসের শুরুতেই আমি যে complex nature of creativity I had discussed, and this particular thing is there. Now, another very important is conversation poems by Coleridge. What are the conversation poems? The conversation poem was coined by 1928 by George MacLean Harper, who used the subtitle The Nightingale, a Conversation Poem, to describe all the 8 poems of Coleridge. তার মধ্যে খুব important হচ্ছে Frost at Midnight. You need to read Frost at Midnight. The Lime Tea Bower at Prison. Dejection and Ode. You need to read the poem Dejection and Ode. Very good poem. Then France and Ode to William Wordsworth. To William Wordsworth, you need to read The Fears in Solitude, The Nightingale. The Nightingale you read, and The Aeolian Harp. So the names of the poems which I have told you to read in detail, you need to read in detail. There is no other option. There is no other option but to read. There is no other option but to make notes on your own. Then only you can crack the exam. Nowadays situation has changed a lot. And then there is obviously Biographia Literaria, and you need to read in detail. You need to read in detail from a good book. It will be a very good criticism book. You will find a discussion on Biographia Literaria. ভালো ক্রিটিসিজমের বইয়ে কিন্তু এই ডিসকাশনটা একদম চ্যাপ্টার ওয়াইজ পাওয়া যায়, but the main important things I have provided in this particular portion. There are 23 chapters in this book. In the last 7 chapters of this book, he gives a remarkable demonstration of his critical power. So chapter 14 is important, where he has described the term willing suspension of disbelief. You all know most probably this term, but still as a part of my discussion, I am going to repeat this portion, that willing suspension of disbelief, meaning আমরা যখন suppose we see in Bollywood movies, Salman Khan is killing 20 people at a time or beating 20 people at a time. It is impossible. practically, how, I mean, it is impossible to beat 20 people at a time by a single person, but still we enjoy that. So for the time being, we suspend willingly our sense of disbelief, আমাদের অবিশ্বাসের ক্ষমতাটাকে আমরা কিছুক্ষণের জন্য সাসপেন্ড করে দিই, and that is called, is the origin of the famous critical concept of willing suspension of disbelief. Apart from that, Biographia Literaria, he also published, Siblin lives in 1877 when he had taken himself free from opium. He was a kind of opium generator. You can easily understand opium. He would take opium regularly at particular time. So Siblin Leaves was written at the very end of his career when he had left himself, or he had left opium. Next one, the Percy Bysshe Shelley, or famous P.B. Shelley. At first I would like to say to you that the birth year and the death year, year of death and year of birth, in this regard are also important, and you need to understand that also. So P.B. Shelley wrote The Necessity of Atheism, which I have already discussed. Actually, when I had given the introduction, in a nutshell, I have talked about all the writers. In a nutshell, now I am just going to give you a detail, but this much detail is not, is not, what to say, this much detail is not very much, I mean, will be very much useful, because from the point of view of net, because I can tell you the way, as I had told you at the very beginning of the class, that I can tell you only the way how to move forward, but it will be your duty to move forward. And those who have joined my, I mean, my classes, I mean usual classes, you know it is also there in, I mean, there are some old students I can see here. Orunima is there in this particular webinar. So I mean, I think she will understand what is the difference, because it is my what to say, I mean, I cannot complete the whole thing within 1 hour. I need time, so for detailed reading, and that's why I'm going to tell you that you need to read in detail this particular portion. I'm just telling you the way. So the necessity of atheism, he had written, which caused him to be expelled from Oxford. And in 1816, his first wife committed suicide, and Shelley, having married the daughter of William Godwin, settled in Italy. So William Godwin was his teacher in a way, and the famous William Godwin, famous philosopher, you can say, and professor also. Shelley was very much influenced by the rationalist utopianism of Godwin's Political Justice. He is famous for his writing this Political Justice. And his first poem of any note is Queen Mab, Alastor, or the Spirit of Solitude. I mean, it is a kind of spiritual autobiography. Then Lion and Cynthia, and afterward the Revolt of Islam. Very important. And in 1819, there happened Peterloo massacre, where an open-air meeting of working men and women in Manchester was attacked, first by local cops and of volunteers. So you can easily compare this situation with the Jallianwala Bagh massacre in India. And the just I was when I was reading this portion, I was thinking about this particular irony of history. In 1819, it happened in England. In 1919, it happened in India. The year of Jallianwala Bagh massacre is 1919 in India. So যেখানে you all know the situation, some of you must have visited that infamous place also. It has now become a visiting place, for the people, যেখানে জেনারেল ওডায়ারের নেতৃত্বে প্রচন্ড একদম একটা শান্তিপূর্ণ মিছিলে গুলি চালানো হয়। And in protest for this Peterloo massacre, he had written the Mask of Anarchy. Very important, the Mask of Anarchy. In the same year, Peterloo wrote his sonnet England in 1819, his Prometheus Unbound and the Cenci. Prometheus Unbound is a poetic drama, and the Cenci is a blank verse play about innocent mother and stepdaughter who are driven frantic or mad by the cruelty, violence, and incestuous lust of the father. Then Witch of Atlas and Epipsychidion and Shelley rises. So these names you just remember. You don't need to read in detail, because if you read in detail, you will become mad, I believe. So Shelley rises further and further into the ether of political image. Anyway, Shelley's Adonais, very famous. Shelley's Adonais is for, it is modeled on Keats' classical tragedy. So it is a lament for the death of Keats, and it was modeled on classical elegy. And some sweetest lyrics, Ode to a Skylark, you need to read. Ode to a Skylark, you need to read. Ode to the West Wind, there is no, mention of the fact that you need to read. So at least from these sweet lyrics, you need to read these two poems, Ode to a Skylark and Ode to the West Wind. You cannot simply, you cannot simply not read this particular poem. You need to read these particular poems so that your preparation becomes full. And another things, prose works are there, and the defense of poetry, which is also very important. And the defense of poetry, written in 1821 and published in 1840, it was conceived as a defense of the value of poetry against the arguments brought against it by Thomas Love Peacock in the Four Ages of Poetry, that poetry had outlived its usefulness in an age of knowledge, রিজন অ্যান্ড এনলাইটেনমেন্ট। আর এটা খুব পুরনো তর্ক, সেই প্লেটোর আমল থেকে চলে আসছে, যে প্লেটো অনেক সময় বলেছিল, প্লেটো হ্যাড অলসো টোল্ড দ্য সেম থিং, দ্যাট পোয়েট্রি ডাজ নট, পোয়েট্রি হ্যাজ এ কাইন্ড অফ করাপ্টিং ইনফ্লুয়েন্স, পোয়েট্রির একটা করাপ্টিং ইনফ্লুয়েন্স আছে, সেইটাকে ডিফেন্স করেছে ডিফেন্স অফ পোয়েট্রি। এর আগেও আমরা দেখেছি ফিলিপ সিডনি ইন ইজ অ্যাপোলজি ফর পোয়েট্রি, দ্য সেম টাইপ অফ থিং, Philip Sidney's apology for poetry and the defense of poetry by our Shelley, and Shelley's argument in defense of poetry, that it, okay, what was his argument? It is given here in this particular portion. So there are some, something which was written by our, just 1 minute. There are some messages maybe. No. Defense of poetry, you don't need to study in detail. Uh, you don't need to study in detail the defense of poetry. You need to, what you need to do, you just read from any good, whoever will be teaching you romantic criticism, it will be his duty to make you aware of the each and every argument of the, which will be required for romantic criticism, or for this writer. So you need to read from that portion only. Okay, you don't need to read in detail. ওকে, সাহেলি মিত্র has written, কাইন্ডলি একটু জানাবেন কি কি আমরা ডিটেলে পড়বো। অলরেডি আমি যখন ডিসকাস করছি তখন আমি একবার করে বলেছি যে কি কি ডিটেলসে পড়বো, এবার আমাকে একটা লিস্ট দিতে হবে তাহলে। এবার সেই ওয়েবিনারে তো আর আমি লিস্টটা দিতে পারি না, আমি যে যে মানে পুরো লিস্টটা আমি চেষ্টা করব ক্লাসের মধ্যে পুরো লিস্টটা একবার শেয়ার করা। আজকে যতটুকু টপিক আমি কভার করেছি, সেই টপিকের কভার করার সময় আমি বলেছি যে কোন কোন জায়গাগুলো পড়া, যেমন আমি বললাম যে preface to the lyrical ballads. What is the way of reading preface to the lyrical ballads? You will just open the Kolkata University syllabus, and in the university syllabus you will find out a particular portion, তো সেই পোর্শনটুকু পড়লেই হবে, and nothing else. তো এইভাবে ইন ডিউ কোর্স অফ টাইম আমি বলে বলে গেছি। এবার যদি আমাকে এখনই বলতে বলা হয় পুরো লিস্টটা, তাহলে আমাকে লিস্টটা বানিয়ে দিতে হবে। এই মুহূর্তে লিস্ট আমার কাছে রেডি নেই। সো কি কি রিডিং লিস্ট থাকবে ফর দিস পিরিয়ড? ওকে, সো আমি যেগুলো বললাম একটু আগে, ইফ ইউ মিস দ্যাট পার্টিকুলার পোর্শন, ইউ মে ডু ওয়ান থিং, you may just you may just listen to the recorded class. I think this class is being recorded, and therefore you can have this recorded class and you can understand. Okay, I think you will be able to understand, Shaheli. So next one, I think I'll not have much time, but I'll finish with this. Keats. So Keats is famous, and why he is called Cockney School of Poetry. Cockney was a kind of dialect, Cockney dialecter উদাহরণ আমরা শয়ের একটা বিখ্যাত লেখায় পাই, সেটা কোন লেখা? We find out, or we just find the mention of this Cockney dialect in one famous particular writing of George Bernard Shaw, drama of George Bernard Shaw. Can you tell me the name? Cockney dialect?
No, sir.
ককনি ডায়ালেক্টের কথা আমরা পাই যে এলিজা ডুলিটিল, কোন ড্রামার ক্যারেক্টার? এলিজা ডুলিটল? I mean, she is a character of which drama? এলিজা ডুলিটল আমাদের পিগম্যালিয়ন, এগুলো ভুলে গেলে তো চলবে না। সেই পিগম্যালিয়নে আমরা ককনি ডায়ালেক্ট পাই। তো ককনি ওয়াজ এ কাইন্ড অফ ডায়ালেক্ট, যেটার সঙ্গে ওই যে বললাম যে মানে আমরা যখন আহ, মানে কলকাতার ভাষায় যারা কথা বলে আর যারা বাঁকুড়ার ভাষায় কথা বলে তারা একটু মানে অন্য ধরনের কথা স্টাইল হয়, তার জন্য মানে ওদেরকে বলা হয় যে এ তো মানে ঠিকঠাক কথাই বলতে পারে না। তো সেই রকম ককনি স্কুল অফ পোয়েট্রি তার কাছে মানে একটা কাইন্ড অফ কি বলবো, যে যাদের মধ্যে দে ল্যাক সফিস্টিকেশন। এই ব্ল্যাকউডস ম্যাগাজিন কিডস এর পিছনে পড়েছিল, উই অল নো দ্যাট, and his tuberculosis was deteriorated because of this Blackwood's magazine. This particular magazine is responsible for the death in a way. Death in a way. Anyway, now some of the famous poems, Endymion, very famous. Some apart from the other poems which are already written, Endymion, or it is based on returns the man in the moon and fetches the faithful separate. You may read this particular. You may. I'll not. I mean, you may read this particular poem. Okay, you may read this particular poem in detail, or if you cannot read in detail, then you will do one thing. You will just read some of the portions. Next one, Isabella, the pot of Basil. You may read. I mean, already it is given here in this particular portion. The theme I have just mentioned. Then Hyperion, or the fall of Hyperion. The Eve of Saint Agnes is also there, and it is the finest narrative poem. It is the It is about the elopement of two lovers. Now Lamia is there. Lamia is taken from Button's Anatomy of Melancholy, and Odes to Nightingale, to Psyche on a Grecianan, etc., and La Belle Dame Sans Mercy. La Belle Dame Sans Mercy meaning a woman without mercy. That is La Belle Dame Sans Mercy. Sans meaning without, a woman without mercy. That is La Belle Dame. So this particular ballad are also very important. You just read out the theme, read Endymion if possible in detail. That's it. And do read his Ode to a Nightingale, Ode on a Grecian urn, this particular odes, this, but Ode to Autumn also. Ode to Autumn, Ode on a Grecian urn, and Ode to Nightingale. These three poems you need to read in detail, otherwise the problem will arise. And then there is Byron is also there. And obviously, we are running short of time. There are a lot of things to be discussed still on this particular period. I'm just showing you these portions you will have in each book, but the problem is that which portion you will not be having in any book, that particular portion I'm just showing you, or I'm just giving you an idea so that you can understand it in a better way. Just 1 minute. This one, a vindication, already you will find out the vindication of the rights of women, the things as they are, or the adventures of Salem William. I mean, it is a 3-volume novel by William Godwin. So this particular portion, these are uncommon. That's why I've just put it here. Romantic woman writer Maria Edgeworth. As I was talking about this writer, Anglo-Irish writer. She was one of the first realist writers. You just look into the that particular writer, the profile of the particular writer. She was one of the first realist writers in children's literature, and was a significant figure in the evolution of novel in Europe. And we had completely missed it. But nowadays, as the canons are changing, they are also being accommodated in the syllabi of different universities, and we are also giving attention to them. এই নেট কোয়েশ্চেন না হলে কিন্তু আমরা এই রাইটার সম্বন্ধে জানতেই পারতাম না। তো তার রাইটিং গুলো আমরা ডিটেলে লিখেছি, দ্য ডাবল ডিসগাইজ অ্যান্ড এনুই, দ্য অ্যাবসেন্টি, হ্যারিংটন পেট্রোনেজ, এটসেট্রা এটসেট্রা, and John Clare is also there, and some of the famous things from this particular romantic age I have also provided in my notes so that you can understand it in a better way. Okay, so just look into it. Suppose this question, whatever are provided in this portion, these questions came in some of the net exams, somehow or other. These are, questions from years. So bliss was it that dawn to be alive, but to be young was very heaven. So from which poem it is taken? The French Revolution as it appeared to enthusiasts at its commencement. So this is the name of the poem of William Wordsworth from which this particular poem is taken. So unless you read the poem, how will it be possible for you to answer the questions? There is no other way but to read. And obviously, in due course of time, I will be providing you a kind of reading list so that you can read on your own. Then Lalla Rookh is there by Thomas More, and Peterloo Massacre already discussed when and there is famous by Reminiscences of the English Lake Poets. You can easily understand in this portion Reminiscences of the English Lake Poets by Thomas De Quincey. This is also a very famous essay, Reminiscences of the English Lake Poets. And Corn Law Rhymer, Ancient Spanish Ballad, etc., etc. All these things, you know, this criticism portion is not my part right at this moment. So all this information, I'm just showing you how to read. My discussion, my purpose of discussion today is to make you aware how to become ready for net. What is the way you should proceed, and you can only gain success if you proceed in this particular way. Do read the texts at least. If it is not possible, do make notes on your own. That is also very important thing which I should say in this regard. Anyway, I think I'll be running short of time. If you some of you might have written something, just 1 minute, let me check. Just 1 minute. Okay, there's no other thing. So I think I should end the session right now. And of course, I know that this was not enough for you, but you have got one idea how to proceed. What is the way you should proceed? That particular idea you have got, I believe. So Amit sir, may I end the session right now? Amit
স্যার
sir,
একটা করতে
y-
পারি?
yes, yes, please.
বলছি আপনি বললেন না ককনি ডায়ালেক্টটা বার্নার্ড শয়ের একটা ড্রামায় আছে, তো
Hmm.
ওই নামটা একটু বলবেন?
Pygmalion, Pygmalion,
আচ্ছা আচ্ছা।
Pygmalion. ককনি ডায়ালেক্টের মানে ও কথাটা মানে ও তো গ্রামের মেয়ে, আমাদের তো এই পিগম্যালিয়নের ওপর বিখ্যাত যে মুভিটা হয়েছে ওগোবধূ সুন্দরী ইন বেঙ্গলি, উত্তম কুমার অভিনীত, ওটা বোধহয় উত্তম কুমারের লাস্ট ছবি। সেই ছবিটা অন্তত অনেকেই দেখেছেন আপনারা। তো ইন দ্যাট পার্টিকুলার মুভি ইউ উইল ফাইন্ড আউট যে ক্যারেক্টারটা প্লে করতে যে গ্রাম থেকে উঠে আসছে শহরে। তো সেই রকম একটা মেয়ের কথা এলিজা ডুলিটল, যে গ্রাম থেকে শহরে উঠে আসছে এবং তার ডায়ালেক্টটা তখন ককনি ডায়ালেক্ট কথা বলছে। সেই জায়গাটাই আর কি। ওকে, সো এনিথিং এলস? আই থিঙ্ক আই শুড end end the class right now. Okay.
স্যার আর একটা, স্যার হ্যালো,
Yes, please. Yes, please.
স্যার বলছি আগের শনিবার যে ক্লাসটা নিয়েছিলেন তার মাঝখানে আর কিছু হয়নি তো? আজকেই আবার হলো? মানে আগের শনিবার আপনি শেক্সপিয়ার পড়াচ্ছিলেন।
হ্যাঁ, আগের শনিবার আমি শেক্সপিয়ার পড়লাম। হ্যাঁ, ওর পরে আমি আর ক্লাস করিনি।
হ্যাঁ
আমি
হ্যাঁ,
আর
আপনি
ক্লাস করিনি। এটা একটা কাইন্ড অফ ওয়েবিনার। আমার নেক্সট ক্লাসটা মোস্ট প্রবাবলি আমাকে ম্যাডাম বললেন নেক্সট বুধবার নিতে। তো নেক্সট বুধবার আমি ক্লাসটা নেব।
হ্যাঁ, আপনি বলেছিলেন না ক্রিটিসিজম পার্টটা একটু দেখে আসতে, ওইটা পড়াবেন।
হ্যাঁ, ক্রিটিসিজম এবং ইন্ডিয়ান অ্যাডাপ্টেশন অন
হ্যাঁ,
শেক্সপিয়ার,
ইন্ডিয়ান, হ্যাঁ
যেটা খুব ওটার উপর ফোকাস করব এবং ওটাকে শেষ করব। আমি রোমান্টিক এজটা, সরি, শেক্সপিয়ার এলিজাবেথেন এজটা নেক্সট দিন শেষ করব somehow or other.
ঠিক
Okay,
আছে।
okay, okay, okay. Thank you. I think I should end the meeting right now. Thank you all.